Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful texts in all of Kabbalah, the Zohar. We're literally going to step into the final dramatic hours of the great sage Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and uncover the cosmic secrets he revealed right on the edge between this world and the next. So with these words, Rabbi Shimon is basically signaling that this is not your ordinary lesson. You can just feel the weight of this moment. He's getting ready to share secrets he has held on to his entire life, waiting for this one precise moment, what he calls a time of favor, to reveal the master key that unlocks a higher reality. He's making sure he enters the next world holding nothing back. All right, to really get what he revealed, we're going to walk through that final day step by step. We'll start with the sacred gathering of his students, and then we're going to journey all the way to the unknowable source of, well, everything. From there, we'll see how that divine energy flows into our world, look at the cosmic architecture that actually governs it all, and finally, we'll witness the incredible legacy of light he left for all time. Okay, first things first, let's set the scene for this absolutely incredible event. Because in the Zohar, you have to understand, the atmosphere around a teaching, it's just as important as the teaching itself. Yeah, this was no public speech. The room was filled with only his most trusted innermost circle. We're talking his son, Rabbi Elazar, and Rabbi Abba, the guy who was told to write down every single word. This wasn't just about sharing information. This was a direct transmission of consciousness, and it was only for those who were ready to handle it. So get this, the Zohar actually describes a fire surrounding the house, creating this powerful spiritual bubble. Now, this wasn't just to keep people out. It was creating a sacred space, a little pocket outside of normal reality, to make sure these incredibly deep secrets could be revealed and, safely contained. With that circle sealed by fire, Rabbi Shimon begins. And he doesn't start with the easy stuff, not with rules or morality. No, he goes straight to the ultimate beginning, the very root of all existence. He starts to talk about a concept of the divine that is just totally beyond our ability to grasp. The Zohar calls it the most concealed of all concealed things. This isn't God as a person with a checklist. This is the infinite, silent, raw potential that everything, and I mean everything, comes from. Now, to make this impossibly huge idea even a little bit understandable, Rabbi Shimon draws this critical line in the sand. He says, look, on one hand, you have the hidden source, Attica Kadisha. Picture it like a silent, unmoving root. But on the other hand, you have the revealed flow, and that's like a dynamic, structured river that we can actually start to perceive and interact with. And this brings us to one of the most powerful metaphors in all of mysticism. It really raises the big question, right? How does the unknowable become knowable? How does that silent, static root produce this vibrant, moving river? So the Zohar uses this beautiful image of flowing water to explain creation. It wasn't some single Big Bang event. No, it's a gentle, continuous overflowing. The infinite source doesn't just, build the world and then take off. It is constantly feeding it with a flow of living waters, this eternal stream of divine wisdom and life force. And this slide just perfectly lays out this cosmic process. You can see it starts with step 1 as this subtle dew coming from that hidden source. Then, in step 2, that dew gathers into a fountain of pure wisdom. From there, it expands in step 3 into a great river of understanding, before finally, in step 4, it gets channeled through a structured system that actually powers our reality. So this brings us to the structure itself. I mean, if the living waters are the raw energy of creation, what's the divine architecture that gives that energy its shape and its purpose? Rabbi Shimon calls this system Zir on Pin, or the small face. It's such a powerful concept. Think of it like the interactive face that the infinite turns towards us, towards creation. It's the divine operating system, the bridge between that boundless source and our world. And it's what translates all that infinite potential into the very laws of physics, emotion, and existence itself. And what's so wild is how the Zohar describes the attributes of this face. We're not talking about physical features here, things like the forehead or the eyes. They're actually cosmic principles that represent divine will or providence. It's this system that perfectly balances the fundamental forces of the universe, like mercy and judgment, making sure everything doesn't just fly apart into chaos or freeze up into rigid law. So, after laying out the entire architecture of the cosmos, from its most hidden root all the way to its manifest form, Rabbi Shimon's work on this earth is finally done, and now we get to the powerful conclusion of his final day. Now, the Zohar makes it crystal clear this was not a sad moment.
As you can see here, it actually describes Rabbi Shimon as smiling, as joyous, as his soul just peacefully departs. His passing isn't an end, it's a triumph. It's the completion of his mission, a conscious, willing merge back into the very source that he had just so brilliantly described to them.
And then, with his final breath, he gives them the ultimate secret. After all of the complex diagrams, the mystical names, the different stages of flow, his last revelation is just breathtakingly simple. The unknowable source and the structured reality we live in, the hidden root and the manifest river, it's all one. Everything is one. There is no separation. That's the final truth. Absolute, unbroken unity.
So, in the end, you see, these deathbed revelations aren't just some abstract map of the cosmos. They show us that reality is a living, breathing system, and it's constantly flowing with divine energy. And that leaves us with a question that echoes from that fiery room all those centuries ago, right to us here today. How do we open ourselves up to receive that flow?